there guys, welcome back to Do It Yourself with Burgess. Today we've got 99 S10 pickup Chevy with a GMC bed on it. It's a mechanic special. We've got quite a bit of work to do to it, so we'll jump in. I've ordered a bunch of parts, so we'll have several videos going over each thing we're going to do. So if you need any videos about radiator, spark plugs, distributor, probably some other things that are going to happen with this truck, then subscribe to me and we can get you all those videos. We'll do them. I'll put them out as quickly as I can. Alright, so to change this radiator, the first thing we got to do, I already did it because I had to make sure it was the radiator, not a hose. So I took this apart already to order the radiator. But there's 3 bolts on top. There'll be 10 millimeter. Got it right here. 10 millimeter bolts. There's 3 across the top, and then on each side there's 2. So you need an extension. I don't know if you can see the one down there. Yeah, there'll be 2 down there. One of those was broke. So that's 2, 4, plus the 3 on top. So we've got 7 bolts to take out for the top. And we could just move these hoses out and finagle those out of the way. And that'll leave open the fan. We'll have to take that fan out too. And then down on the bottom, let's get down here. There'll be a shroud with little clips. Have to push in, get that shroud out. So I can't do that with one hand, so I'll do that and be right back. Alright, now that I've got those shroud clips out, I can move it enough to get to the petcock. So you can see the little valve right there. There's not much room to get pliers on. Let me see where I set my pliers. Just had them. Alright, so I've got these long needle nose ones. I actually have a curved pair here next to me somewhere. I'll get them out. But whatever you got that you can get in there and turn that petcock. This one actually has a little hose to drain it. I don't know if you can see that hose that comes down. It's kind of nice. So you can watch right where the liquid goes, easy to drain. So we'll have to turn that and drain it out. Alright, so I'm not going to lie to you. It actually ended up being easier to come from the top. This truck, there was just too much stuff in the way on the bottom. So I brought a flathead screwdriver down. And I know you're not going to be able to see it from here. But it has a slot on it. The new one doesn't have a slot. So this one's just a straight valve to turn. So I just came from the top and hit it with a screwdriver. If you can get it from the bottom, that's usually the way you get them. This one was just happened to be easier from the top. One more thing, make sure you put your safety glasses on. I didn't have my safety glasses on when I got under there, which I usually tell everybody to put their safety glasses on. So make sure you do that, because I got something in my... So safety first. Alright, while this is draining out, we can go ahead and move to the top. We've got to take this fan off. The way to do that is this big fat nut right here. It's a 36 millimeter. If you don't have metric, you can get away with a 1 7/16 wrench. I happen to not have a 36 millimeter, so I'm going to use a large crescent. A wrench is better, but this is all that I have right here where I'm at, so this is going to work. So we'll size that crescent wrench on there, make sure it fits nice and tight, and we'll get that off. Alright, so the fan's going to spin when you try to spin that bolt. So I put a 24 millimeter just here on the alternator bolt so that I can hold it, keep it from spinning. Alright, that way we should, let me see if I can get this phone set. Should be able to break it loose. Actually not tight at all. Alright, now that we got that broke loose, we can go ahead and spin this nut off here. Get this fan up out of our way. If I didn't mention earlier, make sure you take that radiator cap off, because it's going to make it drain a heck of a lot faster. So, yep, spin this off, and then it pulls right out. Now that we got everything loose, fans out, we're going to start taking these clips off. You can use a small little pocket screwdriver, stick it right in there, pop this first clip off, get it out of the way, And then same thing here. You're gonna see this little rubber, plastic rubber piece, whatever it's made out of. Use your small screwdriver, you can pop that out of the way. Sorry if I'm giving a bad view, I gotta keep my eye on one thing or the other. And then there's gonna be a little clip, a little metal ring clip on there. Should be able to get that out with the screwdriver as well. Maybe it'd be better if I use my right hand instead of my left hand here. Where'd it go? I lost it. Okay. Get you a better view. Right there. Okay. So some way, there's probably a tool for this, but we're using a screwdriver. You can get up under there and just kind of pry it out. Alright, I'm gonna go get my pick set. Alright, let's give her another go now. Oh, there it is. Much better. Now you don't want to lose that. I'll show you where it's, kind of see how it's popping up. So, see how it's out of there? I'm going to use my pliers and put this camera down so I don't lose it. Alright. Okay, and that's it. That's all it was right there. So you could just get under one of the ends and pop it right out of there. And put it somewhere where you're not going to lose it. If you got a magnetic tray, something like that, we'll hang on to it. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. The new ones do come with clips. But if you lose one of those clips, you're going to wish that you had one of these old ones that you saved. So just hang on to them till the job's done. Once the job's over, then you can toss them. Alright, so now that we've got this loose, this should wiggle and pull out of there. This one's being kind of tough, so I'm going to loosen this nut. Try to help me. Let me go get a wrench just so I can let you know what size that is. It is an 18 millimeter. So we're going to loosen this up. This is being a pain. Actually, this may be a standard because this is fitting awful tight. Must be an 18 because 3/4 is a little bit loose, 11/16 doesn't fit. So just take this one off. Make it a little easier on us since I don't want to break this line because I don't feel like digging around and replacing that one. So we'll do it the safe way. It's an old truck, so parts break and don't want to replace all those parts. There, pops off. That's how it's supposed to come out the first time. Just had a little buildup in there. Alright, so now we're going to come over, do the same thing to the one in the bottom on the other side, and use some pliers to get this clamp off. Alright, make sure when you're doing this that you have your container moved into the right spot, because you can have some leak out of here when you're taking this apart. Let's pinch these two together. Yep, we had a little come out. I'll just pour it down into the container. I'm actually going to replace these hoses too. I don't know if they've ever been replaced on this vehicle, and if not, they're over 20 years old, so I'm just going to do, I actually bought the kit with all the hoses and everything. I'll go ahead and show you. I buy all my parts from 1A Auto. No, they don't endorse me, they don't give me anything. It's where I go. I've been going there for years. They have quality parts. Their torque line has been great to me. I've been using them, I don't even know how many years now, at least 10. All my parts come from there. Probably half the price of anywhere else, and they give you guarantee, and they're just good parts. So yeah, I'm going to be taking these hoses off completely. I would recommend it if you have a really old vehicle. So we'll follow that hose back. I'll probably have to remove this air cleaner. Yeah, I will. So we'll get to that too. Next, we'll get this clip here. So drop my pick. Fish out that. I'll get my screwdriver for that. I don't want to tear that. All right. Remember, we get this little rubber piece out of the way. pop it right out. Probably a little bit bigger screwdriver would have been better. And then we have our little clip again. Bad angle for the camera. I'll grab my pliers and I'll get that out of the way. To make it easier, I just tuck that hose up out of the way. I've got the other clip. Save that, get that one up out of the way. And same thing with this one. If it doesn't pull out of there easy, we'll just loosen this up and get that one out of the way. And we've got one down here on the bottom and one over there on the other side on the bottom. So we'll have to get all those out. Oh, and one more hose, that's the return hose on this side. To make things easier for me to get this farther, you don't have to do this unless you're replacing the hoses. I'm going to go ahead and take this whole unit up out of here just to get it out of my way. I have to do it anyway, so like I said, if you're not changing the hoses, you could skip this part. I would change the hoses if you've never done it on a vehicle this old. There's just 4 bolts here to get out and one up here on the top, and I think after that we should be able to just maneuver it enough out of our way without taking anything else off. So 4, 5 bolts. Alright, so all I had to do is take out those 5, and then this just flipped right up out of the way. If you've got this open, check your air filter, check your throttle body, make sure that's all clean. This one looks like somebody had cleaned it not too long ago. Must have been given some issues. I just cleaned this with you know, some kind of cleaner and a toothbrush to scrub it out with a toothbrush, throttle body cleaner. They're pretty simple to clean out. You take it to a shop and they'll charge you a lot to do this, but literally 5 bolts, a toothbrush, you can push this little lever to get in there, spray it out, clean it all out, get it nice and clean. It'll make your engine run way better. Alright, so I'm going to take this hose off. I have one more of these clamps right here. That'll let me take that whole entire hose off. And I'm going to leave this air unit out until I get the radiator out, just because it's one less thing in my way. So, alright, we'll get these other ones out and pull this radiator. One's on there pretty stiff, so I'm going to grab a razor blade and cut it off so I can get it off easier. Before I cut that, you want to take your new one, make sure it's the same. You don't want to find out that you got sent the wrong part. And this one is exactly the same. Now, 1A Auto guarantees the parts they send will fit. If you put in the right information about your vehicle, it'll tell you on there. It'll be right on there, tell you guaranteed to fit. So they guarantee all their parts. So we'll get that switched out. Glad we decided to go ahead and change this. I don't know if you can see this in the light. It's pretty nasty in there. Probably should have did a coolant flush. Sometimes though, on these old vehicles, you do a coolant flush and you end up opening more holes than you wanted to open, but it's probably still best to do the coolant flush, especially since we're already changing the parts that would have leaked. I'm not going to do the coolant flush. I'm just doing this for somebody that can't afford it. So this is the parts we're working with the budget that we have. I did get through 1A, I got these hoses, the radiator, fuel line, 6 spark plugs, the entire distributor. So we're gonna show you how to do the timing and everything on that in the next video. Wires, everything. I got all of it for 370 bucks, which is a pretty good deal. It would have been a lot more than that at AutoZone or O'Reilly's or wherever. So if you're on a budget, I'm telling you 1A Auto is the way to go. So all right, we'll get the new one put back on. Well, actually, we won't put it on yet. We'll get this radiator out first. So, as I was taking this apart, I had one more thought. If you can't get to that petcock down at the bottom to release the fluid, once you get to this point, it's very easy to get to. So, if you just want to wait, get everything else out of the way, and then drain it, the only problem with that is when you start taking the hose, you wouldn't be able to take the hoses off. You'd have to take the fan first, and then get down there and drain it, because once you take the hose off, it would leak all over. So if you go and take the fan off, take the shroud, then the fan, and then drain it, you would be able to get to it a lot easier. So little tip. All right, we're gonna put our new hoses on. You might want to take a little grease, put it inside the edge of the hose so it slides in the pipe easier. If you don't have any, here's a trick. Take a little oil right off your dipstick, just rub it right in there. It'll work just fine. You just want to lubricate it just a little bit to help you slide this back on over the lip. Grease, oil, a little penetrating oil, whatever it takes, just to lube it up to slide this back on. Alright, so now we need to put the new fittings in the new radiator. So we don't want to put the wrong ones won't fit in the wrong side because they're a different size, but just make sure you've got, match them up to the old ones, make sure that they're all the same. You know, so these two go on the left side. These are for the oil, trans oil, and then these two will go here. These are for a different, they gave us extra ones in case you have a different type of fitting. We're not going to use these. It came with O-rings for these. I will just hang on to these and put them in my pile of junk for some other time when I need them. So this one, the bigger one, is going to be a 26 millimeter, and the smaller size is a 19. So get those tightened in and start the process. Oh, also, I'm going to take the old hose that didn't come with a new one for here. You can just buy a new one, put a new one on here. You don't need to put it on at all. But if you need to drain this or flush your radiator for any reason, I'm just going to, I don't have a clamp this small, so I'm just going to zip tie this one on there so it'll stay. Like I said, it's not necessary. You don't need it, but let's get to it. So we're all ready to put new radiator in. I got all the parts. I did put some Teflon tape on these on the right. You don't need it on this side. They have a rubber O-ring that seats at the bottom, so you don't have to over tighten these. That O-ring will seal it up. Just tighten them snug and don't crank on them. You don't want to break anything on your new radiator. This side I put Teflon tape because it didn't have an O-ring. I just wanted to make sure it had a good seal. I tightened those a little bit more, but like I said, they make them all out of plastic now, so you don't want to crack your radiator or ruin your brand new one before you even get started. Also, make sure that your drain plug, your petcock, is nice and tight. You don't want to have to fight it and get down there to retighten that after you put everything back together when you put the fluid in and see it leaking all over. And now with your new radiator, you want to be careful too, setting it down or whatever you put it on. You don't want to bang up all these fins because then it won't cool as well as it's supposed to. And remember our little clips, we're going to take these clips out. I left them in until now. I don't want to lose them, so I'm going to put them in a small magnetic tray. This one has rubber on the bottom, so it's not going to hurt the paint. So let's pop those all out, save them because we're going to need them as soon as we put this back together. All right, we've got the new radiator seated in our rubber grommets down at the bottom. Now we just have to go back, make sure these are all cleaned up, and seat them back in. Make sure they're all the way in before you put in your clip. If they're not all the way in, it's going to leak. Put our clamps on our hoses. Remember a little trick about the oil in there. It'll help them slide right on. It's not as bad with the new radiator. But all you got to do now is attach all that stuff back together. Okay, so we've got all the lines reconnected. When you, after you connect them, you know, give them a good wiggle, pull them hard, make sure that they don't come back out because you want to make sure that you got this clip on properly. If that lip isn't far enough in, that clip's not going to hold this this piece in, and the pressure is going to blow it right out. I got these all in nice and tight. Got to put these keepers back on here. I'll do that with a screwdriver in a second when I can see when I have both my hands. Now, what I want to tell you is, it sounds dumb and it sounds like I shouldn't have to tell you, but don't forget to put your radiator fluid in. It's easy to do. Please don't forget to do that. Fill this up to the line, run it for, you have to run it until it gets warm afterwards. I'll go through this later, but because you want to get all the air out of your system, have it run, get everything everything flowing in there, get everything full, all the bubbles out, and then let it cool, and then top it off again. We'll get to that, but right now we're gonna get everything buttoned back together. I've got to put the 5 bolts back in this throttle body. See, we've got our new hose all put in there, a new hose down there. They're clamping it, and then we'll put this on, everything back together, the fan, everything goes back just the way we took it apart. So we'll screw the, well, first I'll put the throttle body, air induction stuff back on. Then we'll do the bottom shroud. Don't forget the bottom shroud, then the fan, and then the top shroud. So pro tip number 1375. Here's one of the fun things about you guys watching the videos and letting me learn the hard way, so you don't have to do it the hard way. If you've got big hands like me, don't put this hose on yet. Get those bolts in. I told you the one's broke. But get those bolts in first, because I couldn't get my hand in there with this hose in the way. So maybe leave this hose off until you get the shroud on, if you have big hands. If you've got small, little, delicate hands, then go ahead and do it with the hose on, but you might as well just wait, give yourself a little more room. I had to take it back off because I couldn't get that last bolt in. So I'll throw this back together. Everything else is put back. I've got everything together. All we got to do now is fill it and run it, and then we'll see how she runs, see if we have any leaks or any problems. Alright, so yesterday I filled up the coolant. I let it run until the thermostat opened up, so that way the coolant could run through the motor and fill up any holes. And you can see it's gone all the way back down. So we'll just top it back off again. You can get full strength concentrated antifreeze coolant, or you can buy it 50-50 where it's pre-mixed. The 50-50 costs more. The extended life, you can just do half water, half coolant, and put it in, and then we'll run the engine again and make sure it's all topped off. Make sure there's no leaks. There wasn't any leaks yesterday, I checked it, but we'll check it again to make sure. Alright, filled it back up. We'll let it run till that thermostat turns back on. Gets everything flowing. Nothing dripping. Yeah, we'll just let it run again. Let that thermostat open up. Make sure, probably top it off just a touch more. We'll make sure that it's completely full, and then you're done. So hopefully I helped you out here on this video. If you didn't know how you were doing it, now you know how to do it. I tried to give you as many tips, little tricks as I could, make it easy for you. If you could hit subscribe for me, that'd be great. I will get you some more videos on this S10. We're going to be doing the distributor next. Not just the cap and rotor, but the whole distributor. So in that video I'll show you how to do the cap and rotor too, and also the whole distributor, which is a little harder. You have to make sure the engine's in the top dead center. I'll show you how to do that. Tune in next time. Thanks. Bye.